What's up guys, I'm Nathan and in this video I'll be showing you guys the updated anime adventures tier list for the new Bleach update. This is the version 2 tier list which includes the characters that I missed in the previous tier list. So before I get into the video, I just want to make a little bit of an announcement. If there's anything you disagree with, definitely let me know what exactly it is that you disagree with, and I will actually be posting a poll from now on in the community tabs if I genuinely do have a doubt on whether or not you're correct. And if I'm pretty sure that I'm correct, I'll just go ahead and give you guys my explanation. So S tier is going to be for the characters that are meta and close to meta. A tier is going to be the characters that are very good. B tier is going to be the characters that are the best for beginners. C tier is going to be the characters that are decent for beginners, and D tier is going to be the characters that are bad even for beginners. We're going to be starting off with AIZEN, and he's kind of been hated on this update, but I'll actually go ahead and put him in top A tier. Now the thing is, his normal stats are pretty horrible. It's around 1100 DPS or so, and he's going to be giving you a pretty terrible range. But he does have this ability. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that, but his ability is kind of like the funny Valentine. If you guys are familiar with ASTD or All-Star Tower Defense, he's kind of like the funny Valentine of anime adventures. He basically blocks the enemies from coming to your base. Like an Aizen literally just shows up at your base and just yeets all the enemies back. Now this ability could be good, it's just that it's not. And that's gonna be because the global cooldown is ultra long. It lasts for around 20 seconds, which isn't terrible, but like I said, the global cooldown, it applies for every single person, and that's gonna be like 7 minutes, which is a bit too long. And yeah, that's why. And it's not really, it's a run extender, but it does not even give you one extra wave. And Funny Valentine kind of had a barrier which pushed them back beyond a certain limit, meaning you could even time stop and do stuff like that after. But Aizen, it's like they're right at your base, so if there's a lot of enemies, yeah, he's gonna be able to extend by 20 seconds or so, but that's, if you're lucky, only gonna amount to one wave, which is why I don't think he can really be S tier. It's definitely better to bring along a good DPS unit. Rukia is gonna be bottom S tier. Now I'm not really sure whether Rukia or Dio is better. I'm currently leaning over towards Dio. I might actually post a poll on this because this is something that it's like wide disagreement. Because here's the thing, Rukia you can place 4, Dio you can place 3. Now Dio's a lot better for story, challenge and stuff. There's no question about that, especially if we get him just before the road roller upgrade. It's just that Dio's time stop lasts longer, but you can place 3, and Rukia you can place 4, and she's gonna be full AoE with bigger range and freezes. Both of them hit air, so this is basically the only difference. It's like really hard to say. Both of them do have a similar global cooldown. It's just that Rukia's is gonna be like, her freeze duration is lesser time, but you can place more of her and it's full AoE. So I'm currently leaning towards Rukia for infinite, but Dio is of course better for story and challenge, so I'm just literally gonna keep them equal. I'll probably post a poll on this later on. Then we have GRIMMJOW, gonna be in B tier. He's basically got a good DPS around 400 plus, which is pretty damn good for a legendary. He's got a decent AoE, not the best, but yeah, he's gonna be right there. This is the newest like buff unit. It's gonna be the evolved version of KISUKE. This is a secret unit which you can get by evolving the mythical KISUKE, which you can get from the banner. One of the first units that you can do like this. And here's an interesting thing about him. He's actually going to be able to buff your units, but not like Owen. It's actually going to be a SPA reduction of 10%, kind of like your nimble trait, I think. And it's also going to be a range increase of 20% like the sniper trait, which is actually really nice. So in my personal opinion, Owen is going to be better because Owen's is the 25% damage increase. Now, even though this is a 20 and a 10% range, while it's nice, it's not going to be as helpful as a 25% increase on damage. So in my opinion, Owen's still going to be better, but this is definitely an easy meta unit. Then we have Hollow Ichigo, pretty decent secret unit which you can get from the new map by getting those just kind of like Ace and Renzi. He's gonna be the second best secret unit because Renzi is still gonna be better in my opinion. Then we have this dude, Blue Devil. He's gonna be the new leaderboard unit. Pretty decent, nothing much to say about him. ULQUIORRA is gonna be like one of the best new like damage dealers, he's gonna have a pretty solid DPS. He's gonna be like a new contender to Arima. It's just gonna be that Arima is better in a few aspects, such as, in my opinion, Arima's AoE is better. However, ULQUIORRA does have ever so slightly more DPS. Then we have Coyote STARRK, who's gonna be top S tier. Coyote STARRK, you can only place 3, but his DPS is insane. It's gonna be around 2400 DPS, literally just level 70 for the evolved version of himself. He's gonna have a pretty huge rectangular AoE that's like unseen size, and that's with a pretty insane range of 53 plus. Additionally, as if that wasn't enough, I mean, that probably wouldn't make him the best character, but additionally he's also going to be summoning these exploding wolves that do quite a lot of damage when they actually come in contact. Then we have URYU, who is kind of like a utility kind of unit. It's like you'll use him depending on the scenario. He basically is a good air unit, or rather hill unit, because on the newest map, yes, he's kind of going to be useful, just like how Jozu is going to be useful on the ghoul map, because he hits air. Jozu is able to hit bleed, because is able to make the regens bleed, which actually reduces the amount that they regen by 75%. So both of these are good for their respective maps, because we have like new types of enemies that we see there. And URYU basically is able to crit, which is a 25% chance of dealing double damage. So including all of that, he has around 1750 DPS with a pretty good range of 47. But only thing is that his AoE is small. However, you can place a pretty good number of him. That's gonna be 5. Then we have the regular version of KISUKE. He's just gonna be right here. KISUKE, the regular version, is nothing crazy, just 30 range, kind of mid unit. I'm putting it separate because the secret version is extremely difficult to get. And it's also a secret, so this is like the unevolved version, and it's pretty nice that the unevolved version is still A tier. Then we have Arima, who's gonna be right here. I personally like Arima more than ULQUIORRA, but that's also up for debate. Again, might post a poll on this if some of you disagree with this. Again, he's gonna be doing around 2000 DPS, similar stats to URYU. I mean, not URYU, ULQUIORRA, but in my opinion, his AoE is gonna be better. Lelouch, I don't think is the best unit anymore, honestly. But you guys voted for it in the polls. Now, there are definitely some aspects that do make him good. It's just that he's probably not going to be the best, and I don't think he's really used in the leaderboard runs even. But you know what, you guys voted for it, so I'll just go with it, because it is kind of hard to say what technically the best character is. And anyway, Lelouch is pretty good. So he's basically going to be able to summon these Britannian soldiers with around 5k HP, which shoot for some 4k damage. He summons a mech with some 15k HP that does AoE damage, though the AoE isn't really that big, but I mean, it's still pretty good. And also he has a mind control ability that makes the enemies kind of go back and attack each other, so we'll count that as the reason why he's the best unit. Then we have Ace, who's going to be right here, around 460 DPS with a burn. Nothing crazy, definitely going to be like best for beginners tier, I say. Luffy Marineford, pretty garbage. This dude is gonna be right here, Future Gohan, previous leaderboard unit, pretty good. Then we have Eren, who's gonna be a pretty decent summoner. It's just that summoners itself aren't that good. He's gonna be able to summon an attack titan with some decent HP that actually attacks before going into them. Then we have Genos, who's going to have a pretty fast SPA. Then we have Noro, who's going to be pretty decent, like a replacement for Giorno on story, but I do say that Dio is a lot better than Noro, because Dio on his upgrade just before Road Roller is just a story mode carrier. Like I myself, I'm doing story mode, just Dio Irwin combo literally destroys even the new map. Like you can easily solo the new map with just Dio and Irwin. Just make sure that they're leveled up, and they will get leveled up when you bring them along for story mode. But I mean, Noro is still pretty good, some 380 DPS and pretty damn cheap. Then we have Sanji, speaking of cheap, he costs only 250 plays down, which is why he's even in this tier list. Then we have Rengoku, who's going to be right there, decent mythic, but like, actually no, not decent mythic, he's a pretty bad mythic, but he does have an evolution. I've put the regular separate from the evolution because he's one of the few mythics whose evolution came after he himself was added. So the regular Rengoku does a pretty trash DPS of like 320 with burn, but like it's still horrible. Jozu, again, utility unit. He's gonna be able to bleed and pretty bad range and stuff. So he's just good for against region enemies, and that's gonna be utility just for that Tokyo Ghoul map. So since Hollow World is the more new map, that's why I'm putting URYU ahead. But these are below the actual meta units. Then we have Piccolo, good range, but nothing really special. Then we have Levi, who's going to probably be below AIZEN, because Levi is able to create 25, just like URYU is, just a lot worse version of URYU. You can play 6 of him, and he's got 1800 DPS in total. It's just that his AoE is pretty bad. Then we have Speedwagon right there, because he's going to be a money unit, and he's actually better than Bulma probably, at least in some cases, for story mode, because you can place 3 of him, meaning he's a lot easier and faster to max out. And additionally, unlike Bulma, you can actually sell him, but he gives a lot lesser cash than Bulma. But again, he's easy to get. Then we have Tatara, who's going to be right here. Tatara has this kind of 2 times burn thing. However, his range is only 28. I mean, it's more than AIZEN, but AIZEN does have that ability. It's not the best ability, but I'll still make that put him above Tatara. Then we have Akenu. Akenu, I do not think is meta anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and put Akenu in top 8 here, because I feel like URYU is gonna be a better version than Akenu, because it recently came to my knowledge. I'm not sure if this is correct, but I think it is. And Akenu is one of the few characters whose burn is actually not apart from his regular damage. That means he's not the best. Like, he does have good range and good AoE, but URYU's DPS is significantly better. Then we have Naruto Beast Cloak, who is kind of mid, below Future Gohan even. He's a raid character, definitely not recommended for you guys to get. Crocodile is going to be here, one of the best epics. Then we have Zenitsu, who's going to be right there. I mean, not the best. Then we have Gaara, who actually stuns, so again, pretty good epic. Then we have Law, who basically has a pretty damn good DPS, but he is only single target. Then we have Shanks, who's gonna be right here. Shanks has a decent DPS at around 1400 with full AoE, and he also has the ability to time stop. And that's actually really helpful, and he's definitely a must bring. Then we have Erwin, who's gonna be right here. Erwin is just amazing, 25% buff, and he carries in story mode because his horses, his survey corps are even able to hit air. It's just amazing. Then we have this dude, Whitebeard, who's going to be right about here. He's able to push the enemies back, which probably makes him more useful than AIZEN in the long run. And it's a manual ability, so it's kind of like a worse version of All Might. Plus All Might you can place 4, Whitebeard you can only place 3. Now Blackbeard is going to be right here in S tier. Blackbeard is able to curse the enemies with full AoE as well, and that actually makes him take 1.5 times more damage, which is more than Erwin. It's just that Blackbeard's thing is more temporary than Erwin's is, and it's definitely a lot harder to manage as compared to Erwin, which is why he's gonna be only about here maybe. Then we have this dude, Goku Blackpink, who is going to be right about here. He's got good range and AoE, it's just that his DPS is pretty trash. Then we have Mihawk, who's going to be right there. Good range, but pretty terrible AoE. Decent DPS. Then we have Eren, who's going to be probably right about here. Eren isn't the best. I mean, he's got the rumbling ability which summons these titans with like 10 million HP. It's insane, but very long cooldown and also insanely expensive. So yeah, actually I might even move him right down here. He's not great. Then we have Itachi, who is going to be right about here. Itachi is a heal unit and honestly not terrible. Kizaru is just like Itachi, gonna be right about there, kind of equal. Then we have Sakura, who is going to be right about here. Sakura is actually able to buff your units by 10%, and it's actually a permanent buff unlike Erwin, so it's actually, you don't really need to focus on buffing, and considering she's just a rare, that's actually helpful. Then we have Noro. I mean, not Noro. This is Toka from Tokyo Ghoul. She's pretty damn good. Honestly, yeah, gonna be right there. She's got like really good range in AoE. It's just that she's pretty expensive. Then we have Giorno. Used to be really good. I mean, and he still is pretty damn good as a legendary. There are just better options. Then we have Ito, who's going to be... Oh, what? I don't know what happened there. Whoops. Anyways, let's go ahead and continue. We have Ito then, who's going to be right about here. In 8 tier, Ito is pretty good, but not going to be the best. Now, Ito, you can place around 3 of her, and she's going to be able to gain damage every wave, which is nice, but not good enough. Then we have Goku Blue, who's going to be right about here in B tier. Goku Blue is decent, but there are better options. Then we have Josuke, who's going to be right about here. Josuke is actually able to stun, but it is only going to be a single target stun. Then we have this dude, All Might. So All Might is going to be able to knock back the enemies automatically, which is actually really helpful, but it does not really affect bosses if I'm not mistaken. Shank's time stop actually does affect bosses. Then we have Frieza Final, who's going to be right about here. Good AoE, good range. Todoroki is going to be right here. He's able to slow the enemies down as well as burn them. Again, very helpful. Then we have Broly, who's going to be right about here. Broly is still pretty damn good. He's got full AoE and a giant range. Some people do put him pretty low in their tier list, but I feel like they're just doing him kind of dirty. But I mean, yeah, it's just opinion after all. Then we have Killua, who's gonna be right about here. Honestly, I'll put Broly higher. To be fair, I'm gonna go ahead and put him right here. Like, Broly is good. I still say that he's good. Then we have Madara, who's gonna be right about here. He's below Tatara, obviously. He burns with a good AoE, but it's just really outdated now. He used to be very good though. Then we have Bulma, who is going to be able to give you some 12,500 cash per wave, obviously very helpful. Then we have Kakyoin, who is going to be right here. He basically has a good AoE, but not really the best character overall. Then we have Luffy, who's going to be there. I mean, good for starters, but overall pretty trash. Then we have Overhaul, who actually starts off pretty fast, but then he becomes slower and gets an AoE. Then we have Diavolo, who's going to be right there. Diavolo is not really that great. He has a whole map time stop, but it's just that the global cooldown is extremely long, which is why I don't really feel that it is worth it. Then we have Armin, who's also going to be right there in C tier. Yeah, he's gonna be right. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and move Rengoku up right here. I feel like this is a fair spot for Rengoku. Armin is definitely worse. He is full AoE, but it's still really bad. Then we have this dude, who honestly, Kakashi is not that great because he's really expensive, and considering that price, he's definitely not that good. Then we have Karakuri, who has a good range, good AoE, and actually slows down the enemies, which is extremely helpful. We have Pain, who's going to be our first legendary in A tier. He's gonna be it's hard to put him anyway. Honestly, I'll put him like right here. He is definitely better than these units. He's able to automatically push back the enemies, and yeah, that's pretty helpful. Then we have Jotaro, who is going to be right about here in A tier. He's able to time stop, so if you can't really afford Shanks evolved, then yeah, Jotaro is a good option. Darby is going to be pretty low, honestly. He's going to be right there. He does have blue flames, but they don't do much damage. Then we have Naruto, who is going to be right about here. Again, a pretty bad legendary. We have this dude, Zeke, who is, I think, a hill unit for some reason. But he's actually has an insanely good range. It's just that his DPS is whack. Then we have Renzi, who's going to be right there. decent DPS. Then we have Kaneki, who is going to be right about here. He's able to make the enemies bleed, so it's useful in Tokyo Ghoul maps. Then we have Akaza Legendary, who is going to be in, I would say, like top B tier. He's decent. Then we have the mythical version of Rengoku, who is going to be right about here. Pretty good, but I would not say he's S tier. Then we have finally Akaza Destruction, and he's going to be right about here. He self buffs, but I mean, that's pretty much it. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and join my Discord server if you want to, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.